It's a pleasure to be joined by mask maker extraordinaire Shifty, who just did the work for Yaroslav Askarov. So Shifty, let me begin on this. How did you get in touch with Asky?
So I got in touch with him through John Lawner, who is I guess would be the assistant equipment manager for the Sharks.
And so how does the conversation go initially? Is there some ideas back and forth? Does he give you all the ideas? Do you pitch some ideas? And then how does that conversation and evolution go?
So with him, he just texted me over basically some reference pictures, broke it all down, how he wanted it. And then I kind of just put the pieces of the puzzle together from there. And if I feel like changes need to be made, I just get a hold of him and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. For a goalie mask, there's a lot of trust in this, right? Because this is something that is kind of a signature of who you are. Like, it really represents you and your play and your brand. I mean, this is a very personal thing that you're working on for them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of pressure on my end, you know what I mean? To especially when it comes to working with someone new that I've never worked with before.
Right.
So there's a lot of pressure on my end to perform and give him what he's looking for.
Yeah. I don't know if you can share or what you want to share, but what were maybe some of the basics of Asky's requests? Like what were some of the ideas he came with?
It's pretty simple. I mean, for the most part, it was basically, he's sticking to the same concept that he has already, which is the half and half. So half white, half dark. Mm-hmm. Name is, a staple with him. So other than that, I mean, it was pretty basic.
Yeah. When you're exchanging ideas, is it a sketch that you give back? Is it like when you work with a goalie, what do you ask from them? How do you physically or logistically graph it out so that you can see what each other are talking about?
So I'm probably one of the only ones that doesn't do renderings.
Okay.
I do everything off my head and take their ideas. And so the way I go about it is I send them updated pictures through text or whatever. FaceTime sometimes. So they're constantly, everything that I'm doing, they're getting kind of like a play-by-play.
Here's how it looks today. Here's how it might look tomorrow. And
So if there's anything that they feel like needs to be tweaked or changed, I can do that in live.
Have you ever had to go back on anybody's mask and change something that just wasn't right, whether you didn't like it or they didn't like the way it turned out?
No. The only thing that I have had to change was working with John when he was at ASU. We had to add, I did a helmet for Joey DeCord, and he's a big Tom Brady guy. So we had all the Super Bowl Lombardi trophies. and that year, I think he went, I'm not a big football person, but I think he was with the Bucks when he won. So they shipped it back to me, and I had to add another trophy.
Of course. Of course.
But other than that, no, I mean, for the most part, I mean, what we do is, I try to get the best possible product to the player, and that way that doesn't have to happen.
How do you break it down in terms of hours and days, how long this takes, and the starting process and the finishing process? I imagine there's just drying involved too, right? You got to wait for that. How long does this take?
Yeah, there's a lot of downtime. I mean, to actually paint the mask, I mean, I can tape up for 30, 45 minutes, and it takes me 5-10 minutes to spray a color. So there's a lot of in between. But as far as start to finish, it could be anywhere, probably, I'd say, depending on the complexity of the design, I'd say anywhere between 30 and 60 hours.
30 and 60 hours per mask, right?
Yeah.
So that doesn't allow you to get to a lot of different goalies, right? This is, by the way, not your full-time job, which I'll get to in a second, but my point is here, you spend so much time on one mask before you can really work on the next one. And so you can't get to a high volume of people who probably are in demand of your services.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can. I mean, at times you only have so much time in a day.
Right.
But, I usually can have multiples at a time because while one's drying, I'm working on another one. So it's kind of like a juggling act, I guess. You're kind of just balancing, spraying one, sanding one, designing another. So it's, like I said, it's a balancing act.
And your background, by the way, is that you work literally in the paint business. And you obviously have a skill for painting too, but you work in the actual paint business.
Yeah, so I'm a account manager for an automotive paint company, so I'm around paint 24/7.
That's amazing. And doing goalie masks was not obviously the first entry into your painting, right? You've done a lot of other art on a lot of different things, correct?
Yeah. So I started out, I grew up racing motocross. So when I got into helmet painting, it was the motocross guys. Then I went into race car stuff and then hockey stuff.
And what do you enjoy about the hockey side of it? I mean, do you have a background in hockey, or did your painting work kind of get you into association here?
No, I've been a hockey fan.
Okay, so that works. That's great.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It works out for me. It's actually, it's probably my favorite thing to paint.
Really?
Yeah. They're just by far I have the most fun doing them. It's the most enjoyment. So yeah, it's cool being a fan too, because I mean you got to get tied in with these guys, and it just makes the job even that much better.
Absolutely. And so you're up to the hundreds of masks painted, right? Like that's where we're at here. We haven't just done a dozen or two. We've done hundreds. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean I started in 2002, so I've been at it. Was that 23 years now?
Mm-hmm.
So between that and everything else that I've done, I mean, yeah, it's the number's high.
But of the hundreds you've made, there is one that stands out. And we talked about it the other day. I'll let you kind of set it up and how it came to be and how it blew up and why it was so popular just about a year ago, actually.
Yeah. So it was the Winter Classic mask for Seattle. Probably my favorite just because of the aspect of how much attention it got and how much it blew up, because it was such a cross reference between hockey and baseball.
Mm-hmm.
That, card traders, card enthusiasts, I mean, it was insane the amount of attention it got. So yeah, definitely it stands out as the Holy Grail.
You had the, I believe, Upper Deck Ken Griffey rookie card on the side. That was Joey Decord's mask, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it was an amazing crossover. Now, how did you get those images on there? That wasn't paint, right? Those parts weren't?
No, there's a trick to that one.
Don't share.
Yeah, I'm not going to share how it was done, but it was, yeah, that was the whole point of the design, was to make it look like the cards were actually on the mask.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. And to your point, what a crossover for a hockey game at a baseball stadium and all the Seattle connection. It was tremendous. So what you're doing here is the side hustle right now. This is, like we said, not your actual day job, but it sounds like, and it seems like, you might be going in this direction to maybe take this on full time at some point.
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, that's definitely the plan, is to reach that level. I mean, enough people start requesting my time. I mean, there's only so much time you have. So decision would have to be made for sure. Absolutely.
And so how does it go if somebody wants to hire you and maybe, be a client, but you're, like I said, your time is limited. We know that. Are you able to even take on clients? If somebody out there is watching this and saying, hey, I want a Shifty mask, can they even get one at this point? Or are you having to kind of narrow it in?
Yeah. So right now, and it's been this way for quite a while now, is I'm not really open to the public.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do something and take my time away from, my kid or my time, I'm kind of looking, and not only that, but to get to the point of, not being able to depend on the job as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm kind of picky.
Yeah. Selective. Absolutely.
Yeah. Very, very selective, and it's got to make sense. And it's got to be something. In the case of like asking.
Yeah.
That's a no brainer. I mean, the kid's tremendous as a hockey player.
Yes.
He's a bright future. The plan is to make him happy and for him to want to continue using me going down the road, because he's one of the bright ones coming up.
Yeah, we can already see it here in San Jose. And so you got to be pretty proud of this too, right? Like the mask that he's going to put on, and by the time that this actually gets published, he will have worn it. We're doing this yet, and he doesn't have it yet, right? As we're talking right now, he doesn't have it.
No, so he actually gets it tomorrow.
That's awesome. And so when you deliver this, and then when you see him wear this, I mean, you're obviously doing this as a job and work, and that's obvious. But there's got to be a reward for you too, right? Like the proud factor about this. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, when I started painting helmets, one of my goals was to see my paint jobs in the NHL, and it took me 20 years to do it. And so, now just seeing it more and more now. I mean, it's fulfilling, because it's a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of years, like I said, 20 something years. So it's definitely, it's a proud moment when you see it, turn on TV and you can see your work.
You did Evgeny Nabokov's Joe Thornton retirement night alumni game. You did the mask for that one too.
Yeah, and that one was kind of, I guess, the segue into the ASCII mask. Kind of like a show me type thing, I guess, is how I took it.
Yeah.
I like I said, I don't take any of these opportunities when it comes to NHL teams or working with someone like ASCII or Joey DeCole or any of these guys. I don't take it lightly because it's been a dream of mine.
So, I mean, last thing here, if ASCII loves the work, and I'm pretty sure he will, and he needs a new mask every so often, like you got a client for life, and you might be making these masks for him for years to come, right? I mean, that's a pretty cool relationship that it seems like you built. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I mean, it's fairly new. Like I said, we just worked with each other, just here last couple of weeks. But I mean, it goes back to like me and Joey, who plays for Seattle. Mm-hmm. I talk to that guy every day. Like I literally like, it's funny. Like, I don't know if there's another goalie mask painter combo out there that's like me and him. I mean, we talk after every game. I talk to him every day when he's not, in a game. So that relationship's very like, we're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were just joking about the other day, it's been since 2018, I started working with him. Mm-hmm. And, now he just hit 100 games in the NHL. And it's like, now I just hit my 100 games in the NHL. It's like,
your masks are getting a lot of work. That's great.
Yes. Yeah. So it's kind of cool. Like, that's one of the things I enjoy is when you can take a client and they become like an actual like friend. And you know what I mean? So that's the bonus part.
Well, we know you're here in California, not necessarily close to the Bay Area, but we know you'll be following and watching the Sharks closely, especially now with obviously Nabby, but ASCII, who you've done work for. So this is special to have you on board. And Shifty, really appreciate the insight and the conversation, and congratulations on some great work.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And let's hopefully we're talking again soon.